feel about it?
I'm sorry. I love y'all though.
How about you?
I had a different experience. My mother was loving. My father was in and out of jail, but when he was around, he was attentive to me. And I had a stepfather, and I had a whole bunch of uncles, and I had a whole bunch of dudes. So I always felt loved. I'm just a happy person. So I don't think that I personally fit that description. Angry black woman. But I do feel like I'm aggressive in parenting.
But
Because
that's
I'm
still,
the primary parent.
But that's still in itself, right? It's still not so much as angry, right? Because all black women are angry. If you look at me, I'm the most jolly. I feel like I'm more jolly than you, right? Like I'm full of energy. And it's not so much as being angry, like, no. It's more so being aggressive, right? Because when you look at other cultures, they're not aggressive with their children. They are super compassionate and empathetic. Our culture is not like that.
I don't think I agree with you.
You don't?
I do not.
Okay.
I think, and it may be because I'm a little older and the experience I've had also. I see what you're saying about the mother and daughter relationship, because that's one of the questions.
Not mother and
daughter.
daughter.
Let me talk.
Oh.
Saying how certain things you wanted from your mother because your mother was 30 when she had you, and certain things you didn't receive. She never hugged you, and
no, I don't. No. See, I think you missed it. That's not where I say was anger, right? Or more so, that was more so of her pain, right? Because
well, yes, well, I'm getting that because you said she didn't have certain things, and
but it
she
wasn't
never
more
dealt
that
with
I
it.
lacked it. Because granted, once again, I'm a sibling of 9. I have maternal grandparents and fraternal grandmothers. Like, my family is more involved, but that was more so of the hurt and pain from her. When people are usually hurting, they go numb, right? And when you go numb, you can't receive or give love. That's any hurt. Whether
Right.
you lose grief, somebody dies, pain is pain,
right?
So when you are in pain and you're not dealing with or identifying that source of pain or where it's coming from and addressing it, you go numb.
Right. But you said you feel all black women have.
No. I didn't say all black women experience that. I said I do feel like
That all of us are angry.
Not all. I said I do as a culture, right? I'm not talking about the exception, right? Because certain women, not all black women are angry. As a whole, our culture, majority black women are aggressive. And when I meant angry, like I said, I wasn't saying like King Kong beating on your chest. I was saying more as aggressive. And it's a fact, right? And I'm not saying all black women are aggressive. That's nowhere near what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, for example, Shakoya's situation, or she feel like her mom, she is the exception. Majority of African American women have different experiences, especially with their mothers. And I'm not saying our generation of women are aggressive, because I feel like our generation is the actual generation that's doing the work, right? We're being more self-aware. We're being more self-conscious. A lot of them are now going to therapy. A lot of them are advancing in their spirituality so they can be in tune with themselves. But that wasn't before. That wasn't.
But what do you think is the stem? What do you think? What would you say is the root of most of the aggression? Where do you think that's coming from?
Our pain.
So older generation now dealing with it and then passing it
down and keep going forward and forward. That's what they call generational curses.
Right.
And that's where they say you have to break, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to break it, you have to be aware of it, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of people say, oh, I never experienced that, but they have, and they still is to this day, but they're just not aware. Right. Because they haven't lived in the present moment. A lot of people, majority of you guys, are going through life like a zombie, right? You're too focused on the future. Oh, I got to plan for this, I got to plan for this. Or you have some of us who is too stuck in the past. He hurt me. My dad beat me. I was molested, and I'm not taking anything from you for experiencing those traumatic experiences.
Those things happen, right?
Exactly.
Especially in our community.
But that's a present living, so we're not living in our present moment, right? When you find yourself living in that situation, when you find yourself keep backtracking to past situations, that means you have not healed. When it's been 10 years and you're saying, oh, I don't want to be with a black man because all black men are shit, you had a traumatic experience with a black man, and that is a situation that you need to heal from. If you don't, your daughter will continue to have this attitude towards black men, which is negative and it's invalid, and it continues to get worse as each generation goes on. And I'm not saying no one generation is better than the other. We all have problems that we got to solve within our own unit. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? But, and everyone's not like that. But, yes.
I like for you to tap in on this. going back because we're 5 generations now on my side of the family. And my grandmother, she has some traumas that you could clearly tell that she have not dealt with, because even to this day she talks about things that are 50 years old. And so she refuses to do the work. No matter how much we tell her, let it go, this and such, she holds on to that thing like for dear life. Okay, so I kind of understand what you're saying.
Good for grandma though. It's hard to hold grudges. I be trying to be mad and can't.
No, like, grandma holds on to stuff 50, which is not good. She needs to heal.
No, you're right.
And she's about to be 90 years old, but she doesn't see that the anger that's still within her, in which it keeps some of her children away from her that would want to be closer to her. And so what I had to learn, and what I told you that I didn't agree, because what I realized that I didn't like growing up, I made up in my mind that it was not going to be repeated in my household when I had my children.
You broke the generational curse, though.
At a very early age, I knew this I did not want. Talking about being molested and violated. And so those are some of the things that occurred in our household. And for that reason, my sister, may she rest in peace, who passed away, and myself, at the hands of our stepdad. And so because of that reason, there's one of the main reasons after breaking up with my kid's father, I chose, with also being saved, to remain single, because I didn't want to be the one who brought the demon into my household to touch my child. And so I knew these things, they had to be broken one way or another. I wasn't going to sit around for nobody to tell me. I made a decision. So we have to come to a point where we make a decision. This thing was not working, so we can't continue to think that it's going to make, okay? Definition of senile, continue to do the same pattern, and it's not working out. So we have to come to a place where, like you said, this must break from this generation. And so you doing your work, kudos to you. I absolutely love it. And even though you don't have a daughter, but your sons, because a lot of men also are hurting. A lot of men need to do their work and to do their healing, and that's why they cannot be good to a woman, because if you're not good to yourself, you cannot be good to somebody else. You have to first love yourself. A lot of people say, I love you to death, but do you love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, it's very hard for you. You might be in lust, you might be infatuated, but love, true love, y'all know me, Mama Lou, I got to go biblical. Love hung itself on the cross. Love is through Christ, when we understand, because that's who I am. You understand what I'm saying? And so because of Christ, who came into my life and had me saved, I changed my mind. I made up in my mind that I was going to change the cycle from my family. So having 4 sons and having my daughter, I tell you, when I had my daughter at 29, my God, I said, God, the things that happened to me and happened to my sister will not happen to my daughter. We break the curse now in the name of Jesus, and it shall not go on. So we did that. And so I can tell you right now, my daughter is excelling. Hallelujah.
She is
my kids. So hallelujah. My daughter, I'm sorry, y'all, let me tell you, my daughter is 24 years old. She is excelling as a young black woman in this time that we're living now, when so many things are being attached to us, oh God. But I said that would not be attached to my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And my sons, I thank God for them. I have 4 sons, 4 awesome. They're not great. They're not perfect, because nobody's perfect, but they are good men. They are good men. They need work. They need work. I tell you, they're not perfect. They need some work. And I have one who's actually doing a lot of work in his life right now. I thank God for that. But
he really, and can I stop for a second? Because he really is. And if you guys are on any platforms, make sure you guys go follow him. I don't kind of want to say his name, but
go ahead.
Is it all right? It's all ghetto. It's Zaddy with a Z, Addy,
right.
Raphael. First of all, he's one of the guys that I had touch bases with a couple weeks ago, and we chit chat often. And I think more men should be like him, right? And I'm not saying in a sense of, because he's so talking about, I want to take care of my wife and I'm going for that too. But in a sense of self-awareness, right? Because he talks about healing, and not just healing for himself, but he's also talking about healing from his daughter, like, you know what I'm saying, and becoming a better man. And the fact that it's really it's very unrare that you would hear a man, let alone an African-American man, a Haitian man, like a second-generation man, say that they're working on themselves, right? And not just like working on the outer appearance, the inner appearance, healing childhood wounds, like, you know, addressing areas in his life where he felt like he was hurting people and all of the. Now, this ain't about dads, but she does raise some phenomenal kids. Like, her daughter's exceptional, looks like a freaking model, like working for like seriously, guys, like, yeah.
But that's all to the glory of God. I could not do it by myself, like I said, guys. Watching how my life was. That was one of the things I was afraid of, is having a daughter. I was so afraid. And all having children, I was having them. Didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept on having them. When I had her, I was like, oh, God, a daughter. Because I was afraid. I didn't want her to go through what I went through. I was afraid. Now you have two sons. Do you have two sons? Oh, both of you. So just boys.
Football
you
moms.
cannot relate to that. Oh my God.
I can't, but I can't wait to.
Even I've heard that even some boys get molested and get violated. You know what I'm saying? But I knew from experience what that was. And I was so deadly afraid of bringing a girl child into this world that the same things. And so even then, I broke up with the father. So I made up in my mind I was going to stay single until she was grown, and even my younger son was grown, and they were out on their own, just to be sure that she was safe. Now, I don't know, what does that look to y'all guys? Do y'all ever worry about y'all children? Because the way the world now that we live in now is so scary.
Yeah, I worry about my kids. I would say that I'm a hawk. I don't let them just go outside, right? Like, I got to be sitting there watching. I'm the parent that stays during the whole practice. I'm there. I do worry. And if something was to happen to them, I would blame myself, because I should have been there to stop it. So yes, I worry.
Yeah, honestly, and I think it got worse during COVID. I feel like this whole George Floyd situation has my anxiety on steroids. So I know my children are little, right? Because it's like, girl, you're talking about driving, but the reality is, like, I had my first car at 16, so I'm almost certain if I don't purchase my children a car, my parents will, right? And I think about the fact that my son's about to be 12 soon, and he's going to be driving soon, right? And he's going to have to come and face with the police soon, right? So that scares me, because I have this black boy who thinks he's super naive, right? He thinks everyone is lovable. He thinks everyone's out to do good. He thinks everyone is going to always do the right thing, and that's not the reality, right? And my fear is that for him, that he gets caught in a situation that he really can't handle, even though we go over these things numerously, like regularly. But that's my fear. That's my fear of one day him being outside playing with his cousins, because our family own like one street, so they're outside. And yeah, I'm overprotective. My kids have, one time they stayed the night out. We're trying to let go, because I'm a helicopter parent. But I realize with my parents being helicopter parents, when your child get a little bit of that freedom, they're gonna take off.
Yep.
So with me having boys, I try to educate and implement certain things so that they're aware. And I also try to give my kids the real and not the fake. Like, we do a lot of YouTube classes. I mean, we already had to go over sex, unfortunately, because they heard it from a younger cousin. And they asked me, and I'm like, I didn't even know what this. They asked me, first of all, why do people use condoms, or some don't, or something like that. And I didn't even know what a condom is. Like, what? So we had to like pull up YouTube, and I had to like, because I didn't know how to teach that. And we had to go over sex ed and condoms, and one time he asked me what was the pad for, so we went over that. But I try to educate them now too, so that they're just aware, so you can't just pull a blindfold over their eyes, because that's how I was. You could put a blindfold over my eyes, and I was going with it. So